Let's talk about Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. This team is now 6-5 on the season after they just went out there and they completely dominated the Atlanta Falcons in a great way. They went out there and they defeated the Atlanta Falcons 38-6. But you look at the Denver Broncos, easily one of the most underrated teams in the NFL, let alone the AFC. Just because this team is one game above 500 does not mean that they're just an okay football team. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL, and I want to start off with their defense. Their defense is phenomenal, but this is not even a shock. Their defense has been consistent over the last 7 to 8 seasons. The one thing with the Denver Broncos has been the quarterback position. Their defense was amazing even in 2015. That's why they won that Super Bowl against the Carolina Panthers. It was not because Peyton Manning went out there and he had a phenomenal day. They won that game because of Aqib Talib. Von Miller was all over Cam Newton the entire day. Now, obviously, all those names are gone. But when you look at this defense, you have Nick Bonito, who, in my opinion, is the best pass rusher with the Denver Broncos. You also look at Jonathan Cooper. Jonathan Cooper is also a very good pass rusher in his own right. As I record this video, he has 6.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. You look at what Nick Bonino has been able to do, 7 sacks on the season. John Franklin Myers, a very underrated defensive end. He has 5 sacks on the season. You look at Zach Allen. Zach Allen's he can go back there and give you a lot of sack production as well. This front seven is very disruptive. And usually when you look at defenses that have a bunch of defensive linemen and linebackers that have sacks, the only thing that they worry about is getting to the quarterback. They don't worry about stopping the run. That's not the case. They have a very good rushing defense as well because of DJ Jones. This front seven, they go back there, they put a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterback, they stop the run game, and they make you target their secondary. And when you look at their secondary, Patrick Surtain is one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. You can make the case that he's the best cornerback this season. He had a major pick six a few weeks ago against the Las Vegas Raiders. You look at Jaquan McMillan. He was a phenomenal cornerback last season in that nickel spot. He's been phenomenal this season as well. So when I look at the Denver Broncos, this defense at every single level, they're phenomenal. Front seven through the secondary. And PJ Locke, solid safety to have. You worried about the safety position without Justin Simmons? Well, Justin Simmons is not the same safety that he once was with the Broncos that he is now with the Falcons. You see him, he's behind his prime. So they made a good move by letting him go. When I look at the Denver Broncos defense, they're going to be in a lot of close football games in the future, and they have been in the past strictly because of this defense alone. This defense is legit. This is a playoff caliber defense, and give Vance Joseph a lot of credit. I love to see Vance Joseph have success in the NFL. He's a former head coach with the Denver Broncos. Part of the reason why they moved on from him is because they could not figure out the quarterback position. And speaking of the quarterback position, Bo Nix has been very good. It's been a lot of bad moments and a lot of good moments as well. But considering the situation that he has been put into, he has played very well. He only has one consistent wide receiver in Courtland Sutton. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to the other wide receivers in that room, because they have solid wide receivers. But when they moved on from Jerry Jeudy, they traded him to the Cleveland Browns. It was a huge hole behind Courtland Sutton. Say what you want to say about Jerry Jeudy. He had a lot of major drops. Yes. But he could get deep down the field. He was a smooth route runner at times. Was he a disappointment where you selected him in the first round? For sure. Because you selected him in the same draft class as CeeDee Lamb. But there was also a problem here with Jerry Jeudy. Never had consistent quarterback play. I mean, this is a Broncos organization that has started quarterbacks like Drew Lock, Paxton Lynch, Teddy Bridgewater, Case Keenum, Brock Osweiler, and other quarterbacks as well. They could not go out there and figure out the quarterback position. And it brings me into last year and the year before that with Russell Wilson. They made a huge trade to go out there and bring in Russ. The Let Russ Cook movement. That first year was hell for every Broncos fan because it gave them false hope. Not only did Russell Wilson look completely washed up, the offensive line was terrible, and you had a horrible head coach in Nathaniel Hackett. Then you move over to year number 2. You have Russell Wilson, who looks solid, but Sean Payton didn't see eye to eye with him. Sean Payton seemed like he hated Russell Wilson's guts on the sideline. He'll hold on to the football for too long, but Russell Wilson was not a bad quarterback last season. 26 passing touchdowns and 8 interceptions, that would get it done. But they moved on from Russell Wilson, and you're eating the cap hit not only this season, but next season as well. And you bring in this kid, Bo Nix. So many question marks around Bo Nix. Can he work at this level? Can he push the football deep down the field effectively enough? So far, yes, he can. Now, like I mentioned, it's not perfect because besides Cortland Sutton, you have a guy in Troy Franklin who was a college teammate with Bo Nix at Oregon. I wish more teams did this. You draft your quarterback in the first round and you bring in a close friend or a close teammate later on in the NFL draft to bring them in as an undrafted free agent, and it helps bring comfortability there. That's what the Jaguars did with Trevor Lawrence and ETN. I'm not saying every single team needs to do that, but you see on the field, Troy Franklin can go out there and get open. He's not just one of those guys that you brought in just because he's a close friend with Bo Nix. And he may never be a true number one wide receiver, but as long as Bo Nix is on the roster, he's going to know his tendencies, and he can go out there and get open in red zone situations, and especially on third down. You look at Devon as well. He's become a very good, reliable option the last three games. So you look at Cortland Sutton, you look at Devon, you look at Troy Franklin. Lil Jordan Humphrey is a very interesting player as well. Lil Jordan Humphrey is not a consistent wide receiver, but he's not a horrible wide receiver to have around. Right now, that's the biggest weakness with the offense is wide receiver. But we saw what Cortland Sutton was able to do against the Kansas City Chiefs. He gave them a lot of problems. And I will also say this as well. When they went against the Kansas City Chiefs, they blocked that field goal. If the kicker goes on and he makes the field goal, they defeat the Kansas City Chiefs. They will give them the first loss of the season. We're talking about a completely different situation here. Instead of them being 6-5, they will be 7-4. And right now they're sitting right there in the wild card spot. This is very dangerous for every other team in the AFC. And I'm not saying this because their offense is going to go out there and average over 20 points a game. I'm saying this because their defense is so good, and you put the ball back into the hands of Bo Nix, he's able to work magic. The more times that you give him opportunities, he's going to go down there and he's going to settle down and get comfortable. This offensive line is very underrated as well. Mike McGlinchey is a very good right tackle. He's missed some time this season dealing with a knee injury. You have Quinn Myers at the right guard position, Ben Powers at the left tackle position, Garrett Bowles at the left tackle. Ben Powers at the left guard position, Garrett Bowles at the left tackle position. You look at the center position, they no longer have Cushenberry. He's now with the Tennessee Titans, and he's going to miss the rest of the season dealing with an injury. I wish him nothing but the best moving forward. He was very good with the Broncos, went over to the Tennessee Titans, was not the same player. He benefited a lot from playing with Sean Payton and being in this system. I look at the running backs. Estime is the most complete running back. That's why they try to give him as many carries as possible against the Kansas City Chiefs. You look at Javonte Williams, he's not the same running back that he once was before he tore his ACL. But he is still a very good battering ram to have in the backfield. And you have the same with Jaleel. I like what the Denver Broncos have. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender by any means. They're not a huge contender in the AFC, but they're a sneaky good team. They can go out there and they can win close football games. As a matter of fact, they've only had one bad loss this season, and that came against the Baltimore Ravens. They went out there against the Baltimore Ravens and they lost in horrible fashion, 41-10. But every other game this season has been close. When they lost to the Steelers, they lost that game 13-6. When they lost to the Seattle Seahawks, 26-20. One possession games. They went out there against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Granted, the Buccaneers were injured. But Bo Nix on the day, 25-36, 216 passing yards. That would get it done. He also had 47 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown. Against the Vegas Raiders, let's be real here. The Vegas Raiders are in the rebuild mode. They don't have the right quarterback out there. It's easy to feast on that organization. They went against the Chargers. They lost that matchup 23-16. Once again, one possession. On the road against the New Orleans Saints, completely dominated them and they ran the football. Against the Carolina Panthers, it's the Carolina Panthers. No offense, one of the worst teams in the NFL. They won that matchup 28-14. They went out there against the Kansas City Chiefs. They possibly would have won that game. I like the pieces that they have. I like the young quarterback. My opinion, he's a quarterback that you look at. You talk about Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, and all those guys possibly being rookie of the year. You got to put Bo Nix in that conversation. Maybe not even Caleb Williams in that conversation, but Bo Nix deserves to be in that conversation. At least. He has performed very well. In multiple games this season, he has been the leading rusher. The Denver Broncos deserve more respect. And I will say this about Bo Nix, the future is bright. That's why it's so exciting to watch the Denver Broncos, because they haven't had that consistent quarterback play. And for the first time in a very long time, you have a young playmaker in Bo Nix that looks competent week by week, and he continues to get better. The kid went out there against the Kansas City Chiefs, The best team in the NFL at that time and one of the best defenses. He looked composed. He was taking deep shots over and over again. He was getting hit inside the pocket, and nothing fazed him. And he went against those two tough defenses back-to-back of the Seahawks and against the Steelers early in the season. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix moving forward? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.